Hi-ho, everybody. Welcome back. Look who I've got. It's Powie.
The Powie.
And I'm your humble host, Fido, welcoming you to this. I think this is 21. Yeah. Well,
blow me down. I was told there'd be no math.
This esteemed podcast, Hey Man,
Nice Kiss Shirt,
is old enough to drink. So cheers to that. All right.
It's snowy.
As we know, we're here to do one thing. Well, actually, two things. We're here to rock and roll all night
and journal every day.
A year-long guide celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. Brought to you by It's All For You Demon.
It's all for you, Demon.
We do them every week. Do we start? Yeah, we like to keep the profanity to a minimum. So whenever the need arises, just let him know at the home office how you really feel. In reference to the title of the pod, this week it's the literal Kiss Army. This would be a 2019 Kiss Army, Kiss Online version. Paid my annual dues and got the shirt and the matching enamel pin. I'll also display a close-up on that. With that, let's just get right in. It's May 13th. Do you think Kiss can continue reinventing themselves after the end of the road? Do you see the band continuing to reinvent themselves through the Kiss avatars?
More than likely.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Kiss, they've made an entire career out of reinventing themselves at various points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the avatars are going to move on to some direction that's like almost like the MCU. Might have a Kiss universe going on there. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Yeah. I don't know for sure whether, just a thought.
So our favorite band could become even more marvelous, as it were, as time goes on.
True that. Yeah.
With reference to the recent Jericho Paul Stanley tete-a-tete on the Talk Is Jericho podcast.
Yeah, he talked a lot.
Paul was, his kind of take on, he asked for his take on the avatars. And
talked a lot about the Sphere in Vegas, and I don't know much about it. So it's out of my wheelhouse. I don't know. Is it like a laser show type thing? I mean, I know it's like you project things on the sphere and.
Well, from what I understand, I mean, it's even more immersive. I don't know how to explain the technology, but it's like wearing a VR head. It's VR without the headset, basically. Mm-hmm. There are speakers, an array of speakers, I guess, in every seat. And I only assume that this similar technology is going to be installed wherever the avatar's home will be. I mean, it won't be the Sphere, but it'll be a unique environment, built expressly for the Kiss avatars, built with them in mind.
If it makes money, they're going to do it.
Well, and as evidenced with some of the valleys in Kiss's career, even if it doesn't make money, they're going to do it. There will be a valiant effort made toward reinvention.
And gosh, I can't wait. I think he said 2027.
2027, yeah.
It's going to happen.
So yeah, I mean, reinvention is just part of the brand as far as I'm concerned. So yes, the answer is yes to May 13th.
We're fully indoctrinated into the capitalism.
Yes.
We're fine with it. Dude,
yep.
So long as it floats your boat and doesn't sink mine,
that's right.
It's all fine.
Welcome to America. May 14th asks, what is your favorite Kiss board game or trivia game? Have you ever hosted a family board game night? Did you incorporate any Kiss games?
I recently found out that you had something, and I wasn't even aware of it until...
I'm glad it's not gonorrhea.
That's it. And then, but yeah.
I do not have that.
That's true.
But if there were a kiss gonorrhea, I think I would still have to pass.
But yeah, it's like I didn't.
Have you ever messed around with any kid? Did you have the Kiss on Tour game as a kid?
Nope. No, I did not. And
I did not either.
I don't know. Yeah. I didn't know they existed.
My buddy Sam had it and always made some excuse why we should be playing football. I don't think Sam didn't really have the attention span for board games, and we usually just played football.
Some guys who had a podcast a while ago, History Science Theater, did a Kiss Trivia Pursuit type game.
Did they had somebody marketed this previously? Was that something that they did?
Canadian bunch of guys, I don't know.
Huh? I'm not familiar with History Science Theater, or what did you say?
History Science Theater.
Yeah, like MST3K.
Yeah. They did a Trivial Pursuit Kiss edition, and I cleaned it up.
Yeah.
I mean, they threw questions at me when I had dinner with Gene and Paul and Eric and Bruce, and I was the guy answering all the questions.
Yeah, Paul, was it Paul that said, "You know more about us than we do," or something to that effect? Yeah. I'm just geeky enough to know the feeling.
But is there a Kiss board game?
Well, I mean, the Kiss, back in the day, the Kiss on Tour, as we said.
Okay.
And of course, there is this. Kissopoly. The game that lets you rock and roll all night. Because I struggle with that. I just don't have the permission to rock and roll all night and or party every day. And I needed a board game to let me do that. And truth be told, somebody got me this for Christmas. Probably the year it came out. Never played it. And because of this question, thank you, Rick Howard, and thanks to your enthusiastic response,
I dig it.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a
family board game.
Yeah,
and you're invited.
Yes, you are a family as well. Our chosen Kiss family is gonna participate.
We're gonna strap the camera to the light right there and just shine it right down on the
board.
There's
gonna be a dolly rig. There's gonna be maybe a drone cam.
We're gonna
have to up the production values if we're gonna do this right.
It's gonna happen.
So
it's gonna be like World Poker Tour.
I'm not gonna say when, but I will invite Jennifer Tilley to play Kissopoly if it's gonna be a WPT kind of thing. Goodness sakes, Jennifer Tilley. I hope she's a Kiss fan. Hope you're watching, JT. May 15th. What was the first Kiss poster you ever hung on your wall? And what was the last Kiss poster you hung on your wall?
The first... So my brother Lyle had Paul Stanley from Alive hanging on the wall in the room that I later inherited or something.
You mean like that he ripped out of the booklet?
The booklet. And it was up there. That's the first one I remember actually seeing.
Yeah, I always kind of pictured Lyle was more of a Gene guy, but he apparently was a Paul guy.
Had the Paul hanging on. That was the first one I saw. Bob Hecht, my sister's boyfriend's brother, got me that scrapbook. A bunch of clippings from like Shit Parader and Circus and Cream and maybe 16, but that was the only
rock scene.
16 was like the only one I knew had Kiss pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just clippings, a whole scrapbook kind of thing, and I put stuff on the wall and then got freaked out by Gene and tore it down immediately.
So, but was that the first thing?
That's the first thing I put up. What the last thing?
I know that as far as like the official sort of posters though.
Oh, it would have been Spirit of 76 was my first.
All right.
And then the last would have been from the 2000 Farewell, the tour book with the big pictures of Paul and Peter. It's got Paul and he's going like this and he's got the thing. It's like, without you, this wouldn't have been possible. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's the 2000 and farewell tour. I can't say that. And a picture of Ace. And I think he's going like this. And then got a little scribbling thing, thank you, la la la. That thing. Those are the last Kiss pictures that I remember hanging. You?
My first was the first super poster, 76, with the alive shots and that we later bastardized with Donnie and Marie.
That's the one, huh? Wow, first.
That's the one.
I remember when you put that up at Bristol Road.
And it wasn't, I didn't get that poster when it came out. But
Heavens, no.
I did. It wasn't very long before I got the second one, the other one that you had,
the Love Gun,
one with the Levine shots on the cubes.
Right.
That one, like when I put up the first one, we moved around a lot, so posters had to come up and down pretty quickly. And I was an early innovator, and I wonder if anybody else had ever done this, where you take a like a roll up blind, like is that a Venetian blind? Whatever, the thin slatted bamboo looking, but it was fake. It was plastic, but you tack that up with 2 nails, and then you use paper clips to put your posters up, so you don't rag out the corners with tack holes. And I mean, at that point in the early or in the like mid 70s, we weren't staying anywhere, apartments, houses, whatever, like for any longer than probably 3 or 4 months at a time. That's how often I moved. So I learned how to do that paper clip thing.
Oh wow.
And that was a big poster, so that didn't really go up. But I remember when it was, I don't know, birthday or Christmas that year after Love Gun, getting that poster, and like, seeing it in a magazine. It was in a catalog. Somebody recently posted on Instagram how they had found one of those like poster catalogs where they just had, like pages and pages with little thumbnails of posters. And I was like, man, that took me right back. Because that's kind of how ads for that in magazines like 16 is like how you found out about new posters. And so I put up, I remember my dad helping, my dad and mom, I watched them do it because I wasn't tall enough to put that poster above my bed on the ceiling. Because it was like, oh, this is another giant. This isn't just a regular poster; it's a giant. But I digress. That's just. I'm curious if anyone else had ever done that, like with the blinds and the paper clips. But this poster here is the reprint of my first show, the Dynasty show. And
at the Pontiac Mini Dome.
At the Mini Dome.
We talked
the
about
return of Kiss.
The return of Kiss.
And I'll put it here, but that's the most recent because I put that, I don't know, just a couple months ago. I put that up.
Yeah, so that would have been.
Yeah, and it's not chronological, if you will, or whatever. But I'm gonna have to redo it too because I put one of the Mylars, the Destroyer group shot Mylar, in a frame and put that up recently, but it's not properly weeded. It's like sort of bubbling up, and I
get that proper weed.
I hate messing with those Mylars at all because it just you look at them and they rip. But luckily, I've never even put the slightest tear in that poster. But somebody was recently acquired a collection and gotten like all 4 of the solo Mylars. Man, I covet those. I don't know. It might just be too rich for my blood, though. Guacamole. I love those posters. Okay. May 16th
Is that Kobo?
Actually, I think May 15th. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. The Kobo show was recorded for Alive.
Happy 50th anniversary, Alive. Yes. I think 50th.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, nuts. So yeah, May 16th. This one's interesting. Of the key players, members of Kiss, Bill Aucoin, Neil Bogart, Sean Delaney, Bob Ezrin, Eddie Kramer, etc. Any others you'd like to add? Feel free in the comments to post your own answer if it's not one of those. Who of those do you feel is the most responsible for the band's success?
I'm going to say Bill Aucoin. From what I've read, is that he saw so much more than what the band could fathom themselves being. So I'm going to say Mr. Bill Aucoin as it were. I've heard Sean had a hell of a lot to do with the stage.
The presentation. The way the choreography, the way they moved. I honestly, that's such a hard question, because you do make a good point of, Bill possibly having a grander vision, and I'm sure there were points early on where he convinced the band, that they could do this or that, even as late as one of the names that's not in the book, like Doc McGee. That was another sort of revelation from that Jericho podcast with Paul. Paul imagined that the reunion, they would test the waters by playing some club shows or whatever. Kind of, a la Revenge. And it was Doc's like, oh no, we're kicking it off at Tiger Stadium. And
grand vision.
Yeah.
Like a lot more scope than what they had.
But I mean, at the same time, though, these guys had, Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter had a lot of. They had a lot of drive. They had a singular vision. As much shit as they disagreed on, they agreed on the potential for Kiss to be the biggest band in the world. And they knew that early on. So, I'm hesitant. As pivotal and, seismic as Bill and Neil and Joyce and I have to, looking back at the whole, who's more responsible than Gene and Paul? Do you know what I mean? Gene seems to have been, the imagination, the dreamer. I think Paul probably brought a certain pragmatism to the kind of counterbalance Gene's crazy ideas.
I kind of think Gene is in that pragmatist direction as well.
I don't know that I could attribute each trait to each guy strictly, but I think they were just a good sort of balance for each other as far as. But I think it would demean the not necessarily aspirations of Gene and Paul, but I certainly don't want to undercut their value by
not at all,
sort of laying it at Bill's feet.
Yeah, exactly. It's
but you make a good point though. Still,
that interview I heard with Sean was I taught Gene everything. I taught him how to walk like a monster. I taught him how to spit blood. I told him this. I told him that. Told him this. It was everything. It was me. And it was well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Gene and Paul had some shit to do with it. And Ace and Peter, even in the early time, they were all motivated towards that singular purpose. So it was that focus.
Yeah. Even if Ace, almost from the beginning, was not the guy who helped load in. that one, that always sticks out in my head because being a drummer in cover bands and original band, just working bands for so long, I'm just like, what the fuck, man? There's always that one guy who's like, I'll sit in the band.
I'm not hooking anything.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, but like, because every little bit of that sort of thing goes into making a band a success. But yeah, I don't think you can put it on one person. Neil couldn't have done what Neil done. My grammar is good.
You didn't do done.
It's getting good about today, I declare. But I don't think Neil could have been Neil without Joyce, and Gene couldn't have been Gene without Paul, and they couldn't have been themselves without Bill, and as far as the book mentions Bob and Eddie, and those guys.
Eddie Solon.
Yeah.
Eddie Solon was solely responsible for Kiss's success. Or Vinnie Vincent.
Yeah,
he saved
there you
Kiss.
go. He saved Kiss. But he did, though.
But you bring up a valid thing with Doc, too, because it's like they didn't know where they were. Their footing.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about Doc. It's like, oh, shit.
That's great. Yeah. It's like, why did they picked him for management for a damn good reason. He had the track record and was obviously forward thinking. But I guess that's true in every conglomerate of every meeting of the minds. There's even at that late, relatively late stage in their career, you're sort of thinking of things in a certain paradigm, and it takes an outside voice to go, oh, try this, and that was Doc.
And even Ace was like, tell me what I got to do to make it. Tell me what I got to do to be successful. I'll do it. I don't care. So it was like...
And in that regard, I do identify with Ace. Like, I realized that at a certain point that within a band framework, I'm not a leader. Like, I'm a better soldier. I'm a better follower. I'm an idea man. I can come up with some shit up here. But in terms of implementing the plan, I think when somebody else implements the plan and just lays it out for me, that's when I do my best work, So I just think it's a collaborative thing, and I don't think any one person is most responsible for Kiss. But anyway,
discuss.
It's very it's an interesting question.
It is.
Thanks, Rick.
That's a good one, Rick.
May 17th. Also interesting question. What was the best kept secret of Kiss? Personal identities, additional musicians on records, etc.
I didn't even think about that, and I didn't know how to answer this, but yeah, the guys on the records, I didn't know. I had no idea. And then listening to them, you can totally, that's not Peter, whatever, and
what do you mean, like the backups on Love Gun? Or?
Yeah, but no, the backups on Love Gun. For some reason.
Oh wait, didn't we ask this as a trivia question way back many episodes ago?
Did we?
And yeah, and
it was.
Nobody ever chimed in. Let's let them in the comments. Who sang? Who? Well, there was. I think there was 3 of them, but there was one famous backup singer on the track.
Do I give the answer or no?
No.
Okay.
But you know it.
I know it. I knew it. I knew it.
So, so the best kept secret
but on the
of
studio,
Kiss?
that's stuff like that. I don't know. It's like we were talking about Paul's vocals on Dr. Love, where it's all Paul, It's like, but still, I was like, God damn, they sound good. It was like, this rocks.
Yeah. When you're a kid, I'm sure I hadn't understood or even heard the term overdub at that point. So yeah. When you're a kid, no wonder we thought Kiss was just amazing, because they could multiply their voices. There could be two jeans on Deuce. So best kept secret. I mean, you could approach that phrase a couple of different ways, answer a couple of different ways, but I think the best kept secret, at least in the first 5 years of the band, was their identities, the mystique of who are these guys. It became the further on you go, the more a game it became with the press and leaking photos here. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the Knights in Satan's Service Museum recap episode 19. One of the cool things that I saw was, and I didn't know about this contest. Cream Magazine ran a contest. I can't remember what the question was either, but that's just me having a bad memory. But it was probably a trivia question or whatever, but they asked readers to, or it could have been random. I don't remember. I don't want to get hung up on it, but one lucky winner got an envelope, a manila envelope from, probably at that time it was the Birmingham offices of Cream, that had one of the photos that we've all seen the photos. I'll post one here of the Cream Unmasked pics from, what were those, 75?
I think so.
But yeah, they mailed one out, and were like, congratulations, you. So there was one fan, and boy, I wish I would have got the name on that envelope, because that's a good trivia question in itself. Because that person was probably the first person outside of the inner circle that knew what those guys looked like. The first run-of-the-mill fan.
Besides groupies.
But I didn't even know that was a Cream contest.
I didn't either. I'm just finding out. You told me. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't really go through Cream much back then.
And John 5, of course, being one of those completist collectors who insists on keeping the boxes for everything, and whenever a shipping box is available, it's displayed with the items it held. It's just cool that he had the envelope, and I'm gonna find out who that was, because that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, can you think of another better kept secret?
I can't. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know where I'm at right now. It's just, but it's like the musicians not knowing anything about Unmasked,
Oh, you mean in terms of Anton playing on Dynasty and
Tom Harper playing
bass
on Shandy.
I guess if you think about this, I mean, to this moment, I don't know who's playing on. Is it which one is the one that sticks in my craw? Maybe they both do. Rocket Ride, Larger Than Life, like some
Live too?
Side 4 stuff. Yeah, like
Jim insists it's Anton or somebody. So somebody insisted that it wasn't Peter. I think it is. I mean, at the end of Rocket Ride, it's just a snare thing, and
it starts out with toms, though.
Definitely had Peter's snare sound that I was accustomed to for the Alive 2 Love Gun situation. It had that sound. I thought that You tell us. Did Fido play on side 4 of Alive 2?
But I actually, and Not
until somebody says I played drums and it wasn't Peter.
I'll have to go back and find
Peter
it. But when you can hear me on the Q&A with Anton Fig at the 2018 Indie Kiss Expo. Ask Anton, and I can't remember if I referenced side 4 of Alive 2 specifically, but it was the classic. Anton gave the classic mafioso. I do not recall. That was many years ago, kind of like evasive answer. But I've heard, there's been conjecture about Carmine Apiece.
Schwartzberg.
I don't think Schwartzberg is on side 4. But
it's Peter to me.
I mean, there are still...
It'll always be Peter to me until somebody says something different.
And then, we got our buddy Johnny Scott.
Yeah, Mr. Conspiracy. Yeah, he started it.
He was one of the first people that tried to tell me that wasn't Peter on Shock Me. And I'm like, you're just high, dude. That's...
Supposedly, according to Paul's book, he had to bring in a guy to play the extra kick drum part on Love Gun. Because Peter couldn't do it, apparently.
What?
But then again,
what?
I don't know, because Paul says a lot of bad shit about Peter that's not quite... I mean, when you watch and listen to Peter play live, he's good.
Is that something in Face the Music?
That's in, yes.
I can't even conceive of this, bass drum part of which you speak. What's so difficult about Love Gun? There's nothing.
He played Detroit Rock City, for fuck's sake, and that's a lot more difficult than Love Gun.
There's no special bass drum in Love Gun. There's no crying in baseball.
There is when you're losing 5-0.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to my Tigers.
Come on, Tigers.
Shout out to the Tigers, baby. Get a hit, fucker.
All right. May 18th. Kiss Exposed and Kiss Alive 3 were both released on May 18th.
Today.
So this is a 2-timer question. So as a younger fan, did you believe the band all lived together in one mansion as seen on Kiss Exposed?
I thought that they were all together by some cosmic universe thing that
together by the contents of the box of Kiss.
Yes, and it's just like they roamed the earth and fought crime and were the most awesome specimens in life. I couldn't understand why they had human colored hands and stuff, but I thought that they were some otherworldly thing and just existed.
I thought they were cosmic beings.
Cosmic beings.
Who predated time itself.
They watched.
So does that mean they lived together in an interdimensional realm? I mean, were they trapped in a world they never made? Were they sort of like in what was that thing in Superman? In Superman 2? Where
Fortress of Solitude?
No,
they existed there. They existed in some sort of
trapped in that. He imprisoned.
All right, Zod.
He imprisoned Zod in his henchmen.
I have to go back and watch.
God, that's Superman 2. That's kind of gets slept on. I think it's better than the first one. That's might be one of those rare sequel improvements.
What about you? Did you think that they all lived together in a mansion? John slept in the...
Yeah. I mean, until I would say until I got a little bit older and probably solo album era when they started. Even in 16, it had to have been in 16. I remember reading about... it was the first time I knew that Gene Simmons collected Kiss stuff. Because his apartment... There was reference to his apartment in New York City just being full to the brim. And of course, in classic 16 hyperbolic fashion, it was like, the demon has has collected every single thing that band has ever produced. And
Ace Frehley enjoys pizza and beer. My favorites too, Ace.
Yes,
But
yes.
thanks to you, I eat nothing but pizza and
Where's
beer.
my pizza?
What?
No, but I for quite a time, I imagined that all bands.
Had you ever seen? Did you see Help? Did you see Help?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like they lived in a flat with one had the blue door, one had the red door, and they went in and they all lived together. And John slept in the little console under the floor.
I thought all bands did that. I thought that's kind of like part of being a band. Is that you had to do that.
You do kinda on a bus or a van that doesn't run
on the bus.
And we all live together on a fucking van. Bunch of dudes.
All right.
Fuck that.
Stinky, very
God
stinky.
Damn.
Can you imagine?
What's the next?
Two-parter. Second question is, what's your favorite track from Kiss Alive 3? Is it a makeup era track or a non-makeup era track? Well, I'll go ahead and give both answers. But it's tough. It's tough because there's some really good takes on Alive 3. Watching You.
That's one I like.
Is the makeup era track.
Loved it.
But I also really dig, I like that take on I Was Made for Loving You. Paul's raspier.
Super good vocal shape.
Aggressive. Yeah, like Paul was shining.
I liked Deuce when I first just saw/heard because of the video. What was it called? Extreme Close Up or Confidential? Kiss Confidential. Saw him doing Deuce. First thing. God damn! And the drummer's good.
The non-makeup?
That was the non-makeup thing that, Alive 3, it was that tour.
Well, no. I mean, I think that's what I was sort of like expanding on. It was my toss-up choice for favorite Alive 3 song is I Was Made for Loving You, but probably edged out by Watching You. Mm-hmm. But for non-makeup, I really like I Just Wanna. Some people think it's a cheesy tune, and it kind of is, but it's got an Eddie Cochran vibe that I like.
Certainly does.
It's got a super simple, like, and Paul does there's a secret word, pho. I just wanna pho, and it's cheesy, but it works. And the bonus track, Take It Off, I always like that song.
Love the video.
That was almost the one on the previous episode when the question was favorite Eric Singer track. I liked a lot of his work on Revenge. I thought Take It Off was cool, but yeah, so I mean,
yeah, what's the best thing that he has contributed?
Yeah.
It's just I like just his playing is so distinct.
Mm-hmm.
And reminds me of the Funky Dog for some reason.
Refreshing. It is refreshing on the older Kiss tunes.
When I heard their version of Deuce, I was like, okay.
But I'm still gonna stand by. Don't touch my ascot.
Oh, don't touch my. Yeah.
Just to reiterate the props to Eric Singer. Okay.
What's next?
May 19th.
What drove your answer? Well, you were driving, and I was listening to Watching You. So
Baby driver.
That's what drove.
Drove my
Baby
answer.
Drove me answer. The answer. The answer.
May 19th.
Hey, we can't dance together.
Hey, 19th. It's so stupid. Kiss Revenge was released on May 19th. Okay.
Do you Michael McDonald?
Michael McDonald.
Please take me along with your slide out.
Please. The
right.
last thing I want to get is a copyright strike for a shitty Steely Dan impression.
Thank you. Shitty fucking, what's his name? Walter Pagan.
Donald Pagan. All right. So May 19th asks, who wins Revenge? Gene or Paul, and why?
Gene, Unholy, heard it, said, God of Thunder's back. It's about damn time he stopped looking like, as Gene put it, a gay bullfighter. Looked just tough and brought back the growl. It rocks. I saw the video. It's like the dude on drums is fucking kicking ass. And it's very simple, but very good.
Yep.
Floor tom. Loved it.
Yep.
Loved it.
Unholy was a great kickoff.
I was like, what a single to open with, man. Yeah. And it had been a long time since from Unholy to like I Just Wanna or any of the other tracks, Domino, etc. I was like, if the whole album is like this, I'm in.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was all right. And I do, again, appreciate Eric Singer's work. He is real good.
I might have to give it to Gene as well. I mean, for the reason you mentioned. And I remember Spit making a really good first impression as well. But Paul's, I mean, when he comes in with when he comes in with that bridge or the pre-chorus, whatever you want to call it, that's even the rhythm chords, even his playing and singing is like quintessential Paul on the, what is it, sweet lips, strong hips, or make a man out of me. Shit.
I want to say he was top form in vocally. Yeah. He was probably at his peak because like not long after came Unplugged and he performed that live and did a hell of a job. It's just like, okay.
Paul's sweet spot, it lasted quite a while. I'd say from like 83, 84 up until Unplugged, you might say.
I want to say after. I think he was still doing well, like around 2009-ish. I think he was doing well.
Oof.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
That might be pushing it because I think 09 at Kobo was when I first noticed Paul slipping.
Okay.
I'm not sure when he had surgery. Didn't he have throat surgery at some point?
I think he did, but don't quote me on it. I know he had hip surgery, shoulder surgery.
I can't remember either. But at any rate, a really good run of like peak vocal. And again, I think this is our third reference to someone else's pod. That interview with Paul that Jericho did is... Paul acknowledges he was like, man, he's like, I could literally, and I did literally sing that stuff all day. And he even mentioned one of those, subpar, in my opinion, subpar album, but a great song, I'll Fight Hell to Hold You. Just insane vocals. Great late 80s Paul. So yeah, as far as winning revenge, I guess it's Gene, but man, some of those.
Give props to Paul because he was in
great form. I've talked to people who don't like Revenge, and I don't understand them. I just don't. I mean, there's a little bit of the nostalgia that I have for like what I was hanging out a lot with Coggins and Scotch, and we were having a good time with life at that point, like in our early 20s, and I'm just trying to think though. It's like
the Eric Singer's playing really grabbed my attention. I was like, this guy's got it. He's so fucking good.
It upped the Kiss game.
Up the Kiss game. He's not fucking around. He's super good. And I don't know. It's just...
And I love the fact, let it be known that, like, they didn't make him dye his hair.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I was very, very shocked to see the photo from in the shit parader. And matter of fact...
The long blonde mane.
Gene put the Hitler mustaches on Vinnie Vincent and Vince Neil. in that hit parader that I wish I had so much.
Oh, the one you took to the tablecloth
Yes,
evening?
yes. And Gene was going through, and I met Bruce.
Doodling.
And I was talking to Bruce, and I was like, "Why? What makes ESP so special to you?" And he's like, "They give them to me." I was like, "That's a good reason.
Yeah.
They're free."
Is good.
So yeah, but yeah, Revenge. I gotta say Gene, because again, hearing Unholy for the first time and just going, "Holy shit, they're back."
Yeah.
And Domino wasn't bad. I mean, he still had the growl. And I was like, yeah, this is, I mean, Domino's kind of a shuffle kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is kind of cool. This is,
You know, I will say, I mean, if I have to say, you know, I have to throw a little shade, maybe like where Gene maybe might have lost a point to Paul on Revenge was Paralyzed.
oh,
But I like, again, Eric Singer kind of redeeming on that track. But again, these are like just very like personally subjective.
tell us who wins Revenge, Gene or Paul, and why?
You make the call.
Hey,
man.
nice
Nice
Kiss
shirt.
shirt. I do like that one.
Thank you so much for tuning in yet again. Well, as you can see,
Chris Holmes?
we're going our separate ways. Let me remind you to put your two lips together, kiss that subscribe button, and remember the words of the Barbarian. Play hard,
Play
play
fair.
fair,
Nobody hurt.
hurt.
Sorry about that.